Welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a great winter morning here in Calgary. I don't know what it's like in Edmonton or Red Deer. Hopefully it's warmer than down in this, as I call it, frozen wasteland. No, it's not. It's actually a pretty good day. Really excited to be here this morning, and I just have a few announcements, and then I'm going to introduce our speaker. I'm really excited about our speaker here today. Actually, the first announcement is going to come from Edmonton, and I think it's Amanda who's going to be speaking. Are you ready, Amanda? Oh, Amanda's in Calgary then. Amanda, then come speak. Somebody was supposed to speak on something this morning. Come on and jump in. I will tell you what this was all about. All right. I'll tell you what you're supposed to be speaking about. It says Amanda Atkins from Edmonton. Okay. Laugh for life. Laugh for life. There we go.
Hello. So Laugh for Life Gala is taking place in both Edmonton and Calgary, October 20th and 21st. But it is the first time it's in Calgary. So what it is it's a third-party event. These comedians are doing an awesome night at the Bella Concert Hall at MRU, with all the proceeds going towards the mustard seed. It's been an incredible event in Edmonton over the past couple years. So they're bringing it down to Calgary as well this year. So all that to say, I have a bunch of posters over there and little postcards. So if you guys can take those to your churches, your gyms, your apartment buildings, coffee shops, anywhere that you're kind of encountering. It's our first time doing this, so we really want to push it out pretty quick. So if you can grab those on your way out, that would be great. Thanks, Boris. Yeah.
She did a really good job. Give her a big hand. There you go. Yeah. So yesterday we had our ID fair. It was amazing. How many of you had a chance to stop by and one or two? Wasn't it crazy? It was just crazy. So thank you everyone who participated and who facilities. You've done a great job. Volunteer department, amazing communications department, just absolutely beautiful. There was, I think, over 250 or 300 people who received services yesterday at the Mustard Seed. That is just, isn't that amazing? That's just brilliant. I don't know what's going on, but at least here in Calgary, we're just swamped. Our employment team is doing amazing numbers. The advocates are doing amazing numbers. Counselors are back. So if you see some new people kicking around here, they're probably just counseling students. Say hi to them. We have 6. We started right now, and then we're starting 6 more in January. So we're going to have 12 students for a period of time, which is just incredible. So great job. Next week's speaker is Franco Savoia from Vibrant Communities. And he's going to be talking about an initiative called Enough for All. So hopefully you all can make it. But this week's speaker is Angela Pitt. She's an MLA. She's from Airdrie. And I've known Angela now for a few years. We worked together on some things when we were trying to protect homeschooling in Alberta. And she was here for a tour June or something like that. I was very excited to be able to actually show her around and show her the mustard seed. And then she was supposed to come for our breakfast, but couldn't make it across. It was too hot, just I understand. It was really, really hot that day. And so then we challenged her. We said, well, I dare you to come and speak at one of our Faith Connect, because I know that Angela is an amazing person of faith. She has been elected under the banner of the Wild Rose Party, which later merged with the Progressive Conservative, and she is now the United Conservative Party MLA. She serves as the UCP Deputy House Leader and is the Opposition Critic for Justice. very significant role there. She also just won her UCP nomination for her writing for the next election that's coming up this spring. Is married, has 2 children, and before entering into politics, Angela was running a very successful small business in Airdrie. And I know she's a little bit nervous, so can we just give her a little bit of an encouragement, because I know she's going to do well. Angela.
Thank you. That's good. Wow, you all multiplied while I was staring this way. Thank you so much for having me here today, and I'm nervous because I'm definitely being challenged. And when I was dared, I thought, of course I'm going to do this. You dared me. And then I freaked out a little, and I kind of procrastinated. And I was at a work event. We were presenting some computers to one of the local churches in Airdrie on behalf of some other program. And the pastors there said, I've been meaning to get a hold of you and have coffee and get to know you. And I said, oh, perfect. I need your help. So he was great. And Pastor B from the Kings Park Church in Airdrie was supposed to be here today, but he had some work come up, so he can't make it. But he says hello to everybody, and I know I've got great encouragement and support in this crowd, and some good Airdrie people. So that's awesome. Not to knock Calgary, you guys are great too. But so I am going to enter into the challenge that was presented to me now. Now, you may not know this, a few Airdrie people in the crowd might, but I tried more than once to be a politician. In 2013, I ran for Airdrie City Council, and I put my hat in the ring because I wanted to serve the people in my community. But of course, as Boris said, I run a small business, and I was running into multiple challenges with sort of red tape and the bureaucracy and the old guard within City Hall, and I was extremely frustrated. Now, I've always enjoyed politics, so this was something that was always going to be kind of up my alley, and 2013 I thought was the time to do it. So I wanted to run also because I wanted to replace some of the incumbent councillors at the time. Like I said, the old guard was in charge, and after some brainstorming with some community leaders, an idea to run a slate was born. I don't know if you know what a slate is, but we put a team of 4 together. There are 6 seats on council, but we put a team of 4 to run on the same platform and vow to vote on some of the same things during council meetings. And we door knocked together, and we did sign branding together, and we tried to have this team concept. Which sounds like a super smart idea. Now, at least with 4 of us together, if we got all elected, with all of the efforts that we put in, we could actually probably deliver on some of the promises that we made during the election campaign. We could have 4 new fresh faces on our city council out of 6. Well, there was a few things wrong with this plan. Now, first problem, one of our slate members happened to be the mother of the sitting MLA. I also sat on his political party board. As Boris mentioned, this was the Wild Rose Party at that time. And now, unintended, seriously, I promise you, this slate quickly became a partisan run for city council. It wasn't, but it definitely appeared to be that way. In addition to that, one of our slate members liked to pick fights on social media, literally with anyone and everyone. He sought them out. They didn't come after him. He went and found them. And then another one of our members refused to door knock because he didn't think it was important. And I can tell you the only way to win an election is to actually get out on the doors and talk to the people. Plus, it's good exercise, and the only way politicians can actually lose weight. Well, I also should mention that I have my own faults that I'm sure we're dragging down the team as well. So this election was starting to lose me friends who really didn't like what I was doing, and I wasn't prepared for that kind of backlash at all, right? They talk about thick skin in politics, and that's certainly not anything that I had at that time. So, and I would also find out that later my business would take some hits as well from running in this election, so I wasn't having a very good time. But the most significant problem with all of this is I forgot to check in with God. There's not an ask, not a lead me, Lord. I didn't even send a tweet. Now, I'm one of those Christians who grew up in the church. I became a Christian at 7. I was baptized at 11 or 12. I have a fairly boring coming to Christ story. But don't let that be confused with a boring relationship with God. If we had more time, I would share with you the slap in your face, shake you upside down stories about how God carried me. But today I have a story for you about how to check in with God. So I didn't win a seat on city council, obviously. Nor did any of my Slate friends. We came pretty close. We were sort of the top 4 losers. And when election night came and we lost, it was a relief. Shockingly, a big, giant relief. After all of the craziness came, when election night came and I lost, it was a relief. It was sad too, and my ego was definitely damaged, but I felt relief. So it's over now, right? Nope. The next 6 months or so would be a pretty challenging time for me and my family. It was miserable, absolutely miserable. And I mean, generally I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person, and which is helpful now in this job. I grew some thick skin. But this was tough. I had a hard time bouncing back, and my husband was very concerned about my mood, my attitude at the time, and my parents were pretty concerned too. But time went on, and the seasons changed, as they always do. And I was able to work on my business, grow my business, and work on my family, and also, most importantly, my relationship with God. Then the absolute craziest thing in Alberta politics happened. 2 of my party's MLAs crossed the floor. And then followed by another 9 just a few weeks later. Absolutely devastating news. So quickly our constituency board found ourselves with no candidate and rumors of a snap election. Our board went from 30 members, which is the maximum allowed members on a board, to 5. And I was the president now. So, who the heck's going to run for us now? Well, let me tell you, no one. No one wanted to run for us. We were the losing party. We looked like losers, right? Everybody just abandoned us publicly. We would later find out only 11 abandoned us, and the rest of the party stayed pretty much intact. But it was a tough time. Nobody wanted anything to do with politics, and I didn't even think anybody was going to vote anymore. It was a rough go. Sad part is I totally understood it, but I'm stubborn. So my job and my duty as the president was to find a candidate. So down on my knees I went, because I learned some lessons. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I prayed for God to send us a good, godly candidate. A candidate with all the right things that we needed for our community and for our province. I lost so much sleep over this and spent so much time on the phone just trying to find, and there was begging involved. We just needed a candidate, but there's a couple nibbles came around, but nobody ever submitted papers. Nothing ever came from it. It was really, really frustrating, and we knew that time was running out. So God said, get ready anyways, and so I did. So I decided to be the campaign manager for whoever was going to be the candidate. We had $80,000 in the bank, and we were the most well-funded constituency association in the province. To brag, I had a little bit to do with the fundraising effort. And we were totally ready to go. We had sign locations, we had volunteers in place. It was just wonderful, but still no candidate. And we also didn't have a leader, which was another challenge. So, but that would come. Our leader was elected March 28th in 2015, and the very next day was candidate training. So I was there. I was excited because I was a campaign manager, and it's a strategy session, and we're going to have everything and put everything together and get ready to go, and candidate will come. It'll be fine. And I wasn't there long before our new leader pulled me out of the meeting and said, Angela, you need to run. I threw up. Oh my gosh, my stomach was churning. I told him that my kids are still too young and that I've tried this candidate thing before, and it was an absolutely horrible experience, but I'll make the best campaign manager that you've ever seen. Now, this new leader was pretty good convincer. Now, I was challenged by Pastor B to bring this back to the Bible and in ways that would be relevant. Of course, the pastor in him thinks I'm preaching, and I'm not. But he sent me to Exodus and the story of Moses. And as I was reading, reminded that the story of Moses and the burning bush. And Moses pretty much just had a lot of excuses as to why he shouldn't be the one to go talk to the Israelites. He even went so far as to suggest somebody else to do this job. And I find this humorous because this is actually similar to my situation, which I didn't know at that time. So I called my husband and I told him what happened, and I asked what he thought, and the silence was extremely stunning. I think he had to be very careful about the words that he chose next. But he was great. He said, honey, I'll support whatever effort that you take. But I just want to remind you that 2013 was just not a good time for you and for this family. So my parents got together with my husband, and they had a meeting while I was at this training session, and just to see if this would work, right? I had my son at the time was only in the preschool just before kindergarten, so he was quite young. Actually, he wasn't even in preschool at that time. Anyway, he was about that age. So, I mean, we were going to need help if this thing was going to work. This is an out-of-town job. This is a very public position, and it's like all hands on deck. So luckily, my family and I are sort of along the same partisan political lines. So we knew that this was, we were all on the same page about what needed to be done and the sacrifice that needed to be made. And perhaps maybe this was my calling. This was the time for me to serve. Well, God, what do you think? I checked in this time. And the best answer that I got was, I've been trying to get you here for a while now. Thanks for listening. Now, the election was called just days later, and the rest is actually literally history. The campaign was fantastic. We had a great time, and we won our seat in Airdrie. Now, the best lesson that I learned, and as you can see, it took years, from 2013, was when you go with God, it's a heck of a lot easier when you try to go without him. First time I ran, I didn't even check in. But the second time, I didn't leave him alone. And he didn't leave me alone. Now, although I didn't understand what God was saying through the whole process on try number 2, I included him, and I consulted, and I was rewarded. So I not only serve God, but now I get to serve my country. Jeremiah 10:21 says, "For the shepherds have become stupid, and have not sought the Lord. Therefore they have not prospered, and all of their flock is scattered." I love that translation of the verse. So don't be like me or the shepherds, and please seek God's guidance. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. This was very inspiring. Let's just pray together. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for incredible people that are here in this room and scattered both here in Alberta and British Columbia. And I just pray for all of our staff that you will bless us as we seek to serve you and serve those around us. Thank you for Angela and for her words to us to check with you and to ensure that you are leading us, that we don't become stupid. God bless her in her work, and bless her family as well, and reward her for the sacrifices that she's making in order to serve as a politician. It's a difficult role oftentimes, and we don't understand how much work actually it is to be an MLA. Thank you for guiding us and leading us in the name of Jesus. Amen. See you next week.